What is going on, baseball and Mets fans? And welcome back to episode number 6 of the Stressing Mets podcast. We are just over a week into the second half of the 2024 MLB season, and the Mets are showing to impress. The Mets split the series down in Miami and have swept the Subway Series, which is pretty exceptional, I would argue. So let's dive into the good, the bad, and the ugly, and what has been helping this New York Mets team win ball games and stay in contention. So let's dive into the first topic, and that is the Subway Series. The Mets went into the Bronx, and it was not the house that Jeter built, but it was the house that pretty much everyone on this Mets roster has built. The Mets wrapped up the 2024 Subway Series going 4-0. Keep in mind, this is the first time that this has occurred since 2013, so pretty impressive to say for the least. Starting off with Game 1, Jose Quintana was given the ball and looked pretty solid, going 5 innings, surrendering 3 hits, a run, 5 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Quintana was able to get out of jams that he put himself into. He mixed up his pitches very well and located the zone very well at certain points during at-bats. You would have liked to keep the walks down. Maybe it could have translated into him going longer into the game, but you'll take it. Minus, like I said, the one pitch to Glaber. He was mostly on his game. The struggling and overtaxed bullpen did come in and get the hold and save, in which they did. Ottavino, Alex Young, Nunez, Maton came in and held down the fort, but the pitching highlight was Jake Diekman coming into the 9th inning and getting the save and getting the job done. Obviously, Edwin Diaz was unavailable, so Mendoza and the Mets had to pivot to the struggling Jake Diekman, who came in and got the 3 outs. Key highlight, striking out Aaron Judge as the winning run, and then obviously to get the final out, Ben Rice to ground out, which was huge. The pitching staff did their job. When it came to the offense, they were so-so. Very good night from Jeff McNeil as he had the difference-maker home run. Would have been nice to score more runs as they left plenty of guys in scoring position on base, but they won the game, so you'll take it. The Mets win Game 1 by a score of 3-2. Coming into Game 2 and the final game of the Subway Series, and it was a Mets slugfest home run derby. Manaea was given the ball and was the fine definition of average, okay. 4 2/3, 3 hits, 2 runs, 4 strikeouts, 4 walks. His pitch count got to the best of him towards the 3rd and 4th inning as he had some trouble locating and putting away hitters when on an 0-2 count or with 2 outs. His slider and secondary pitches were good to start off, but couldn't keep it long term. The bullpen came into play and held down the fort very, very well. Ottavino came into a clutch spot and got the out to get out of a big jam. The 2 Youngs were on point, and Hauser finished things off. The Mets bullpen only surrendered 1 run in 4 1/3 innings, so you'll take that. However, the offense is what stood out as the Mets scored 12 runs on 14 hits with 5 home runs. The Mets lit up Gerrit Cole, not only this game, but in the last Subway Series game back at Citi Field in June. Francisco Lindor was huge, big game for him, going 3 for 6 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. Tyrone Taylor 3 for 5 with the homer and 2 RBIs. The whole lineup 1 through 9 contributed. Everyone in the lineup got on base, and everyone minus 1 hitter got at least a bare minimum hit of 1. So the Mets won this game by a score of 12-3. So Subway Series was a success. Now, moving on to the next topic is Francisco Lindor, and oh my, he's been on fire. Lindor is and should be considered in the MVP conversation. Not saying he is, but he should be considered. Lindor so far this season is slashing .259, .338, and .817 with 21 home runs, 60 ribbies, and 20 stolen bases. So he did get to the 2020 mark. And this includes his lifeless, horrible April stats, which is crazy to think of. Lindor lately has been taking great at-bats, hitting both from the left and right-hand side, keeping his nice, short, sweet swing, and has been clutch in situations and with guys on base. Lindor's success is really going to be huge for the New York Mets this second half, and if they have a run at the playoffs. Now, getting on to the next topic and player we need to discuss is Jeff McNeil, and I'm not really sure if he switched bodies with someone over the All-Star break, but ever since the break ended and the Mets came back, to play in the second half. He has been a machine. In the last 7 games, he is slashing .391, .423, and 1,043 with 9 hits, 4 home runs, 7 runs, and 2 walks. McNeil is doing a lot of what we saw in the second half of 2019, and it is hit the ball hard, line drive style, and slap the ball, and really just ditching that uppercut swing or launch angle swing that we saw a lot from him in the first half. Listen, I'm not saying Jeff McNeil is back and, going to make a huge deal out of it, but with how he's playing right now and how he has been, the last season and a half, I will gladly take a solid week or 2 from Jeff McNeil. Hopefully he can keep it up. It is going to be huge if McNeil can play, I guess, at bare minimum average for the rest of the season. It will be huge for this lineup and huge for this team going forward. So some other topics can consist of the return of Kodai Senga. He will be returning to the New York Mets rotation. The question is, are they going to go with the 6-man rotation? If so, who will that 6-man be? Obviously, Christian Scott will be on the IL for a little bit. So could they shuffle back Tyler McGill into the rotation? It'll be an interesting conversation for the New York Mets front office and managerial staff to see how they handle that. We obviously know the deadline is approaching this upcoming week. The possible returns of Sean Reed-Foley and maybe Shintaro Fujinami. So some bullpen arms may be coming back. So it is a very interesting spot for the New York Mets. They are in a good spot right now. They're 5th in the National League, 3rd in the National League East, in a playoff spot. They currently hold the 2nd playoff spot in the National League wild card, posting a record right now, as of the time of recording this video, of 53-48, and they are half a game in the 2nd wild card spot. They have a huge series coming up against the Braves, which will be, in my opinion, the last test. The last test to see if this is, the do-or-die team. We know that the Braves have destroyed the Mets' hopes in certain points of the season. We saw that in 2022 at the end in October. So it'd be nice for the Mets to potentially, who knows, get up on the Braves. They are only 2 games back from the Atlanta Braves. So we are going to have to wait and see. But we have some very interesting times for the New York Mets coming up. Alrighty, baseball fans, and that is the end of this video. Please feel free to give this video a like, comment, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd be very interested to hear what you guys have to say. Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree with what I said? Do you have some other thoughts that you would like me to be cognizant about? I am very interested to hear. A big week coming up for the Mets. Deadline will be approaching, and we'll see. The Mets are likely to buy. They are likely to buy. They would be, in my opinion, silly and foolish to not even light buy. I think they will go with a light buy. I think David Stearns trusts what he has right now. I think that, he trusts what he has in AAA, and he trusts the guys that he could probably get, even on the waiver wire. David Stearns has been great with building a roster with guys that are underrated. That's what he's done for all of his front office career, so we will have to see. Alrighty, baseball fans, as always, like, comment, subscribe, turn on those post notifications, and much more. Till next time, baseball and Mets fans, see ya, and LFGM.